All right. Apologies to everyone for that. I got switched to an attendee prematurely. And I wanted to make sure I had an opportunity to bring on our keynote who love the title, catch the buzz, and so I get the privilege of introducing Dick Rogers. So Dick, I'll give you your props, but as I often like to tell people, I Googled you, and I was really intrigued. Besides your very, very impressive background, that you started keeping honeybees because you were fascinated with this social insect. And, I can tell you, having looked into this to prepare for all this, I really share your fascination, but I don't think I'm going to take it to the next level like you did, but I was intrigued that you became a beekeeper, and that's how you got your way through college. And you have a couple of great degrees, and native Canadian, and have your master's from McGill University. So that is certainly an impressive academic background. And today you are with your background as an entomologist, an apiologist, and the research manager for Bayer's North American Bee Healthcare Program. You've been serving as an internal and external resource and educator on bees and apiculture. And you help to work, identify, and develop, evaluate tools and products for managing and protecting honeybee health. And obviously, as we're hearing, it's an important topic. You've got a terrific background, and with the resources and the global outreach that Bayer has, you're really in position to help all of us catch the buzz. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Dick Rogers, and you're on, and we're looking forward to your comments.
Thank you, Dennis. Now I'm talking about technology, and now I have to figure out how to use it. So I'd like to project my screen here, if possible. Let me see if anybody can give me some tips.
Well, let's see. I'm presuming Mandy will.
Yes, Dick, I just gave you hosting rights, so you should be able to share your screen now at the bottom.
Okay, I got it.
Good.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So you should be able to see me now. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Dennis, for that introduction again. Like you said, my name's Dick Rogers. I'm an entomologist with Bayer Crop Science, and I'm honored to be speaking with you today. I've been keeping and studying honeybees for 48 years. It's hard to believe, but the years have just flown by. And in the last 20 years, I've spent much of my time identifying factors impacting honeybee health, as well as developing health assessment and management tools, and a lot of time spent on education and outreach activities. I should be able to switch pages here. This happens all the time. There we go. I probably will advance unexpectedly here any second. So my topic today is about how apiculture is in transition and how the Internet of Things will help transform the honeybee industry. Beekeeping has been in transition since the mid-1980s, so this has been a long period of time. And what used to be normal before that time is long past. My presentation today is partly about technology, partly about principles, vision and innovation, insights and recommendations, and recognition that we have a lot of work to do. Okay, it seems to be working better now. Before I get too far along, though, I want to state that honeybees will not be going extinct anytime soon, and that's contrary to one of the perceptions out there. However, commercial apiculture is at risk, and commercial apiculture is really the value of honeybees. So I've been saying this for many years, and now the sentiment is being echoed by others. So I suppose that means that there is a consensus about this kind of a statement. If the statement's true, then we have to consider, whoops, we have to consider what is needed to keep the business of beekeeping thriving so it can provide the pollination services we need and the honey products that we desire. What we need are healthy colonies, and that's what will keep the commercial apiculture business thriving. So the question is, how can we achieve and maintain healthy colonies? Well, spoiler alert, digital tools and Internet of Things, or IoT, are vital to achieving the goal of healthy colonies. And I won't go into the details here, but I'm showing 4 categories of things where digital tools and IoT can really benefit and produce healthy colonies. Before I go any further, though, I want to acknowledge the importance of honeybees for crop pollination, but also to put pollination into perspective. I think there's a misconception here, so I'd like to kind of clarify that. So why do I say this? Because pollination is only part of the story. We need a full appreciation to fully appreciate this so we can work together in an integrated way. In this example, in a crop production cycle, and this would be for any insect pollinated plant, it is very easy to appreciate that pollination is vitally important. We all know that, it's just a given. But also that pollination is best achieved by honeybees in most cases for a number of well-known reasons. So I don't have to explain why honeybees would be the best pollinator, but generally it is. However, pollination is only one tiny sliver of the production cycle. I like to use an automobile analogy here, where honeybees are the spark plug and pollen transfer is the spark that starts the crop production engine. But management is the fuel that keeps the crop growing. It sounds a little silly, but it really does describe the system. So beekeeping has evolved, but very slowly over the recorded history. The very earliest records of bees being managed is from about 8,500 years ago. And managing hives was also advanced later on when, in the medieval times, skeps in the form of humans with masks were thought to ward off evil spirits. So we go from harvesting honey and hive products in unmanaged hives to managing them, and then to try to keep them healthy using whatever knowledge was popular or understood at that time. Then the latest true transformation in the management of honeybees came about in 1851. That's 170 years ago, when Lorenzo Langstroth discovered the bee space, which is 3/8 of an inch, and built the removable frame hive that we still use today. However, things have changed since then, and in a big way. So beekeeping practices and tools need to evolve as well. When I talk to beekeeping clubs, I like to ask, how many of you remember what beekeeping was like before Varroa arrived on the scene back in the mid-1980s? Of course, very few remember, because most were not born or old enough to keep bees. That was almost 4 decades ago. The point is that many things have changed since the 1980s. Here I'm just showing the problems that beekeepers had to contend with at that time and before. But since then, we've had the introduction of the parasitic mites, tracheal mite and Varroa destructor. We've had increase in demand for pollination services and the subsequent crowding of bees in large apiaries and on crops. We've had the introduction of an establishment of a new parasite, Nosema ceranae, as well as hive beetles. And that's not all. There was a development of resistance by varroa mites to a lot of our chemical treatments or pesticides. And also queen issues have been very, very common and one of the primary reasons for colony collapse in many cases. So for apiculture to overcome these challenges, it must fully transform and fast. And it must transform through a series of 4 stages. These stages will achieve different goals along a path that is hopefully will achieve a new normal that is sustainable. And a new normal is only achieved with greater implementation of best practices and maintained in a sustainable way by continuous improvements in knowledge, data, mindfulness even, and digital tools and analytics. And the ultimate push into the new normal will be connecting digital tools to the internet. So that's why it's so important to be talking about this today. I like to think of IoT this way. A farmer can see and record a lot, but IoT can measure and communicate a lot. So that gives us a tool that is far more powerful than our direct observations. So IoT sounds awesome, but there are challenges to overcome. I've been testing and evaluating digital tools and IoT for many years, and the 3 most limiting challenges are the reliability and cost of components and systems. Also, you get data gaps when sensors and uploads fail, and that does happen all the time. And also, how can we maintain continuous and reliable connectivity? That is very critical. In fact, I added connectivity as one of the key categories in how to select apiaries. It used to be you'd select apiaries on honey yield. Now I include connectivity. If you don't have connectivity, then forget about IoT and digital devices. But we must never give up, even though there are challenges. For instance, if they can develop smart underpants, then smart hives should be a breeze. In apiculture, there are already IoT tools in use, such as GPS for tracking vehicles and hives, cellular for communications and data transfer, and sensors in the hives and for weight, hive weight, and internal and external temperatures. However, the majority of honeybee colony health inspections are done by direct observation and sample collection. And record keeping is mostly manual and is not standardized. So this needs to change. As a Bayer employee, I have worked with and evaluated many precision technologies that can benefit apiculture. I would now like to share with you a few of my current projects. The first is a standardized inspection system that determines the health status of a colony relative to a defined, what is defined as a healthy colony. So you need some guidelines as to what a healthy colony is. This system is called the Healthy Colony Checklist. It can be implemented manually, as you see in the single data sheet form, or it can use iDevices for identification, data capture, and analytics. So this system has been also developed as a relational database with links that can create app icons on your phone. Another project that I've worked on for quite a few years is an approach for simplifying and interpreting Hive scale data. Here is a full year of gross weight data visualized as a chart. Absolutely, it contains good information that can be quickly gleaned from this type of visualization, but there is more that can be extracted. So I came up with a way to use that same data set, but simplify the amount of data used to give me the ability to see trends quickly and easily, and also to separate out the human impact on hive weight as well as the bee impact on hive weight. So how this works is when a human touches a hive, you then retrieve the hive weight data from the system prior to the interaction and post interaction. And this would be done, data would come from non-flight periods. And from there, you can do a quick, simple math subtraction and come up with the value of the weight change during human interaction. And what's left over between inspections is the impact from the bee bee activity. So this, as you can see, this really allows you to see a lot of different trends and opportunities for identifying triggers for management, and also what's happening to the bees as far as their biology goes. This is another one of my latest projects, and it's very exciting. It's basically using low-cost connectivity via satellite. And so I'm working with a satellite company, and we're co-developing a sensor that will send opened Hive data via satellite to a cloud database. So you can see opened Hive data is simply a 1 or a 0. So a very compact amount of data can be sent very quickly, and over an inexpensive system, it's very, very low cost. This will then activate the Hive scale data system that I just talked about. So that will be our first proof of concept for this technology. And success in this project would be a game changer because of the tremendous potential for using other sensors and integration of data from many sources. Here's another project that is a favorite of mine. It's using weather data, which is generally readily available from local and regional weather stations. And this data is used to build a model that can, or input into a model that can track and visualize honeybee flight and cluster hours. It's kind of similar to growing degree days for crop and insect development. The weather data could be refined. It could be site specific if you have your own weather station, or it could be from a local weather station instead of a further away location like maybe a regional weather station. And that data combined with thresholds for bee behaviors like flight and clustering can be used to identify seasonal shifts as a result of climate change related to temperature. And eventually we'd like to build in other factors that would influence the bee behaviors. This is a way to determine impacts on honeybees from the perspective of the honeybee. It's not simply a temperature curve. It is showing you bee behaviors as a result of the environmental conditions. So we can use the value of all this would be to improve timing of seasonal and pest management, as well as to optimize efficiencies in crop pollination services. My last example is related to using blockchain technology for supporting honey production in smallholder operations around the world. Our international collaborative team working on this topic recently published this paper, which outlines a smart supply chain for the honey sector. The system is data-driven, uses blockchain technology and machine learning and IoT. So to wrap up, I'll say there is a lot of research and development and education needed before apiculture can become a fully integrated system that works well within a larger digital agriculture system. But since apiculture is agriculture too, it is important that apiculture does utilize digital and IoT so it can be included in the larger agriculture system for food production. However, as more great minds work on solutions, as IoT devices and connectivity improve, and as data services become more readily accessible, commercial apiculture will continue to move forward toward complete transformation and a new normal in the digital world. And I'm sure we'll get there. So that concludes my talk. I don't know if there's time for questions, but I'm happy to receive any.